Hello, everyone, and welcome to I Am Not Okay with Day. I am your host, Day. And today, y'all, I'm a little bit low energy. I am tired. I'm so tired. What is new, really? Because I feel like tired is just by default at this point. But we're here, okay? Like I said, y'all, it's season 6. I'm getting it right this time. It's season 6. And therefore, we are here authentically in whatever state we're in because, child, let me tell you what I'm not going to do in 2024 and beyond is pretend to be okay. We're not doing that anymore. That is old news. So, yeah. Anyway, we're back. And I have been doing this entire time, this podcast of walking with you all in my journey. And we're going to continue to do that today. So, but let's get into our some type of way before we dive into all the things. Y'all, let me tell you what had me feeling some type of way. My hormones, okay? Child, my hormones literally have me feeling all the things. Y'all, this really only applies to women because if you're a man, you don't understand and you will not understand. But it is insane to me, literally. Every single month, I notice what happens. It's like every other week. Good one week, bad the next. Good, bad. Just like up and like when I tell you it's an actual roller coaster. But the thing about my hormones is every month I get so dark. And what I really hate is how much I question the validity of what I'm actually feeling because of my hormones. It's like, is this situation really this depressing? Or is everything just extra heightened? Is maybe a little bit sad, but now it's extra heightened because of the fact that my hormones are all over the place? Child, I can't. Like, and what I've been noticing, especially as of recently, is when I am hormonal, my hormones are all over the place. I start to feel so hopeless. Like, there is, I keep saying dark because that's the only word I can think of. It's like, I get so hopeless. I'm like, it's going to be this way forever. Everything is terrible. It's never going to be better. And no amount of talking my way out of it helps me. Like, I get exhausted. So I'm still in that place, y'all. This is why I feel so tired. I feel physically so exhausted. I feel like I can sleep for 10 years and it's never going to be enough. And I'm over it, y'all. I'm over it. And if you're a woman, you understand me. You know the struggle. And it's like sometimes I gotta be like, Lord, poor Kay. Okay, like what is the reason? What is the reason? But you know what? Some things in life I will never get answers to, and I just have to be okay with that. So this is one of those things that I'll never understand as long as I'm living on this earth. However, what can you do? Anyway, that's what I'm feeling. All the things, okay? Irritable, depressed, exhausted, physically, mentally, everything. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at, y'all. And you know, the worst part about it is like, I still have to function. I think this is the worst part about adulthood in general, but especially as a woman. Like, why I still gotta do responsibilities when I'm feeling this way? Like, excuse me? Why can I not have time? Give me at least a couple days. Like, I'm of the belief that women need to have minimum 2 days off every single month. Just for even two is like too little. But you know what? Given the society in which we live in, I'll settle for two. Give me 2 days off. That I just like can just become one with my bed and be by myself, miserable, eat everything that I want. Just literally, okay? Because this is ridiculous. Anyway, let me get off that box because I could stay there forever. Anyway, y'all, today I thought it would be fitting to talk a little bit more about, I guess, like what I've been doing in a practical way and how I've been feeling as far as prioritizing myself, loving myself, and just like what that looks like. Because I feel that we hear this all the time, love yourself and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, what does that mean? What does that actually look like? Actually, last season I had Mel, my friend Mel, on the podcast, and we talked a little bit about that self-love. Go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. And so I have been in a personal journey, obviously, of self-love, but even more intentionally in the past couple months, I would say. And I just thought I would share A, the struggles that I'm having with this journey, and B, just what I've been doing amidst all of that. So, yeah, let's just dive in. So, y'all, I would say that truly, here's something that happened recently. I was over at my parents' house for the holidays, and I came across my dad made a video for me when I turned 16. I had like a sweet 16 party, and he made a video of like my whole entire life up until that point. So my father, and I'm so grateful for it, truly, he's pretty much documented my entire life since I was literally born up until, I mean, I'm, as much as he possibly can. I'm a full adult at this point, so he hasn't been in more recent years, but he's been that person. And so he made this video, y'all, and I was watching it with my parents over the holidays, and oh my gosh, how amazing, first of all, to literally see yourself as a baby and then grow up right before your eyes. I mean, it's a really odd feeling in the sense that and I was trying to explain this to somebody, where you have an idea of the life of your life. It's in your brain, and you can look back and you can picture certain things, but when you can literally see it in front of you, it hits different. It hits different. And so, wow, I don't even know what the words are. But I was so it was so nostalgic, a lot of memories coming back, but it was also, and it was beautiful to see, my growth, but it was also so heartbreaking. It's not an emotion I thought I would experience watching that. I mean, that video is my life from 0 to 16. But so the rest of the 16 years were not obviously as documented as before. But there's something about seeing who I used to be and feeling such a disconnect from that person today that made me feel so, so sad. And yeah, like after I watched that video, I remember I was like, I went to my bed just kind of reflecting, and I just broke down crying because I felt so like sad at how much I'm not that person anymore. And the thing is, like, that's normal in some senses. Obviously, we grow, we get older, things change. You're not going to be the same person you were when you were 16 years old or 15 or 12, obviously. But I guess, like, I saw the light just get sucked out of me, kind of as I got older. Like, just looking back at, I guess, from 16 all the way, to now, I just started thinking about how life has taken that spark away from me. You know, I remember um, when I got divorced, when I first told my best friend, one of my best friends, I was getting divorced, she told me, you know, I saw the light get sucked out of you a while ago. And that has always stuck with me because I myself didn't notice it because obviously I'm in the thick of it and I didn't realize that it was clear to anyone because I thought I was pretending so well. And I mean, I guess only people who really know me could see that. And I saw that as I thought about my life. I thought, wow, yeah, so many things have changed and it's taken this spark that I've had and this like bright light that I had. And some of it is like naivete, you know, some of it is literally I was young and naive and so innocent and didn't know anything. And there is just a lightheartedness in children. You know, you look at them and they're just like living life and they're, you know, doing their own thing. But what I noticed the most in my own life was how confident I was. I radiated a level of confidence, low key, kind of like arrogance. I don't think it was arrogant, but there was such a level of like knowing of myself. And it's crazy to say that because when I look back, like I know my 11, 12, 13-year-old self didn't really know herself. But I wasn't questioning it at that point. I was just like living, doing, you know, living, doing my own thing, having fun, hanging with my friends. I was really just fully present in life, no cares, no worries. And I didn't have a lot of doubt in myself at all, you know? And even in my therapy, I was recently talking about that exact thing. And I was, you know, really trying to understand like, when did this like self doubt come in? When did these insecurities come in? When did things really start to change for me? And I think it was a process. I think it was a thing that happened over time. And obviously, certain life experiences, you know, things that are really difficult, like losing people, it changes you. It just does. And I think that's normal, you know. But I, there's something I really felt as I watched this video, like, and as I thought of how much I lack confidence today. I was like, you know, I mean, I don't want to be obviously a naive person, but I want to go back to a place where I have a similar level of confidence in myself where I don't immediately like start questioning things. And so, I mean, I've always been on the journey, but think I'm really trying to be even more intentional about trusting myself again and um, believing in myself and truly loving myself unconditionally, radically, without just, you know, I actually, it's crazy because I came across, um, well, I came across, Mrs. Kev on stage. She had a shirt and this whole like movement kind of about years ago that said, "I'm worth it as is, without exception, without change, without exception." And I have the sweater, I have the shirt, I got the sweater, everything, because I just love that message so much. And it resonated with me so much because I hadn't felt that way for so long. And I just came across it like yesterday too. And so just thinking about the fact that I wanted to record this podcast today and that everything has been reminding me of, yeah, this is the person that I want to be. I want to truly unconditionally love myself as I am. If I make zero changes today, I want to love myself as I am in this moment today. And yeah, something that um, I heard the other day that also I realize is a part of my issue and my struggle. And I kind of talked about it a little bit in the last episode, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit more in depth today because I feel like a lot of people, a lot of women especially, and I mean, maybe men are dealing with this too, but I've just heard this from many women. I've seen it so much. Um, and especially within myself as of recently. And I just, it breaks my heart. And it is the idea of the need for validation from others, the need for external validation, the idea that you can't love yourself unless people love you, the idea that you can't, um, the way you see yourself is so ingrained, so intertwined with the way that other people see you. And y'all, let me be real here. Like, the truth of the matter is, I have felt that so strongly, where, yeah, I felt shame and I felt like I was not worthy of being loved because my ex didn't love me. And for years, I really internalized that. And then, even after that, it was like, then another man comes in and sees me as this like most amazing person ever. And then I finally start to feel good about myself, because of how this man is seeing me again, just for this man to leave and for me to start feeling bad about myself again, because it's just when your view of self is intertwined with how others perceive you, it is way too fickle. It is too easy to be gone. It is unstable. And I think this is why everybody always talks about this idea of like truly loving yourself before you can love somebody else. Because if your love of self is based on how someone else loves you, what happens when they leave? You know? And I've experienced that recently, where I really started to attach my worth to a person. And it's just like, no, no, no. And, I came across, I think it was Sham Booty, Sham Boudram. She talked about this in a podcast the other day. And, I was having this conversation with my friend also. And I think there is truth to this. She was talking about how much she has grown to love herself because of how much her husband loves her. And she was talking about it, kind of like saying that she was embarrassed even for feeling that way, for feeling, for like feeling that sense of validation from her husband. But she was talking about the reality that, yeah, like him fully loving and accepting her, the parts that she herself couldn't accept, helped her love herself more. And I was talking about this with my friend, and she was saying like she's experienced that too, and not just even with like romantic partners, but also just with like friends, And I do believe that this is very normal, and this is something that happens, and I felt a lot of shame for myself. Like, even as as I was saying this, like I felt shame for feeling good about myself because of how a man felt about me. Truly, and I said it in the last episode. I'm not trying to be that girl, but child, I was that girl, and I felt really bad about that because I didn't want to. I didn't want that to be who I was. Like, but that's where I was, and I want to say that just to normalize that and to validate you if you're feeling that way. I think that's normal. I think it's a lot more common than we think. And I don't think that's the goal. But if that's how you feel, it's okay that that's how you feel. And for me, it's how I feel sometimes. I'm trying to work on changing it. But I just want to validate that first and foremost and normalize that and let you know that you're not alone if it is that you also are seeking validation, because all of us do that. Bottom line, I mean, heck, look on social media. We all go on there and we all are seeking validation in some way through social media. And those of us who are not, we do that through other things, you know? So I think it's very normal to do. But also, I think that um, for me, I'm trying to get away from attaching my worth just to people in general, because what I learned is this did not start from a man. It does not start from romantic relationships for me. And I think that's the thing that you need to understand for yourself more. These are the questions that my therapist has asked me throughout the years that I've been able to dissect and better understand about myself. You know, why do I need the validation from others? What exactly is it that, you know, what does it touch in me? How does it make me feel when somebody speaks on something I've always been insecure about, you know? And so I think, you know, as I started thinking and reflecting on this myself, and as I had these conversations with my friend about it, I think it's okay that that happens, but it should not be the number one thing. Like, you can feel good about the fact that your friends love you unconditionally, have chosen you as a person, a constant in their life, that your partner loves you regardless of your flaws. And also, the number one thing that's guiding the way you feel about yourself, separate from how you feel, I think is the way that God sees you. And that's the thing that I have been really trying to internalize, you know? But anyways, I'm just coming back to why, like, why is it that I feel this way? I think first and foremost, for me, again, reflecting on my life, a big thing that has happened for majority of my life is that I was very much living the life that was expected of me. You know, I was told from a very young age that I have the potential to be great, you know, that I am a leader, that I have my head on my shoulders, right? I, everybody else is, you know, on here, but you're a good one. You're a good girl. These are the messages I received. And again, it's not that it was bad, because it wasn't bad at all. But what it did to me is it reinforced the the need for that validation from other people, you know? And so I didn't notice it, obviously, because I'm just living my life doing the thing. But now that I can look back, what I realize is that, yeah, I did things, and like some way along the way, the expectations that other people had for me became the expectations I had for myself, right? And therefore, I convinced myself that, yeah, this is what I want for myself, obviously, you know? And I truly believed in that. And so as I went through life, you know, I would achieve the things, do the things that's expected, you know, follow the path, and I would get a congratulations, a pat on the back, praise. That's good. Oh, look at Dania. She's got it. And then, you know, um I veered off the path, I guess, that was expected. And I honestly don't even know what the narrative was about me from other people, because like after I got divorced, I do believe people probably kept their true thoughts to themselves, which I thank them for, because of the fact that, yeah, this is a very sensitive time for me, and therefore I'm working through a lot of things. I don't need your opinion on what I'm doing with my life, or like how I'm handling it, or whatever, you know? And so I think that, but the narrative I started to let myself is, well, you're no longer doing the thing that people expect you to do, and therefore you are a failure. And again, no one is praising me for this divorce. Like, I'm not getting that like validation from them, you know. um And so, yeah, I think my sense of self after that really just started to get confusing. Like I just felt like I lost so much because I just kept, I was no longer doing what everybody expected me to do. At least this is the narrative I tell myself. And so, yeah, it's like starting out like that now, I have to catch myself because, I remember even when I started the podcast, then I had a lot of people tell me at that point, you're so brave. Thank you so much for doing this. Proud of you for doing this. And that gets to your head too. That can, because that's again like another sense of like external validation. And so I've really had to learn how to separate myself from what people think of me. And to this day, I still struggle a lot with how I think I'm being perceived by others and what that means for me. Because, yeah, like, what would people think if they see me do XYZ? And what does this mean about who I am as a person? And if we're talking romantically, how has this person treated me? And what does this mean about me as a person? There is so much attached to how somebody is viewing me. How somebody treats me is a direct correlation with my worth. What does it say about me that this is what this person thinks of me and this person treats me? And it's just like, it's a trap. Going down that path is only going to lead to feeling bad about yourself, because there's a sense of powerlessness and helplessness when that happens. Like, because I have placed everything in someone else's hands, then yeah, it's in their hands. And so what do I have control over at that point? How do I start to feel better about myself if it's in somebody else's hands? And let me tell you, it's a really hard thing to come to terms with because, okay, I don't really all the way believe in this, but, I am an Enneagram 8. If you know anything about the Enneagrams, the personality test, you know that the 8 is the challenger, and the 8's number one, like, weakness or point of, what do they call it? Like, point of difficulty or whatever is feeling helpless and powerless. I hate that personally for me. It is like the thing that I cannot, it's my number one struggle. I hate feeling that way. And I've been feeling that a lot, especially as I've been like dissecting who I am and really trying to heal and love myself. I've noticed that I have, because of this reliance on other people for other people's opinions of me, for how I feel about myself, I have felt a sense of helplessness. And so now I'm here like trying to love myself, and I don't even know how to do that because it's so hard to separate me from everyone. And my therapist continues to ask me, she's asked me, yeah, like, okay, so what is in your control actually? What is it that you want to do? And then I think because of just the way that things have happened too, then I start to feel like, yeah, nothing's in my control because this person left me, and I can't do anything about it. I'm just at the mercy of somebody else. My therapist always asks me, what is in your control to do actually? What is it that you want, and how can you get to a place where what you want and what is in your control is connected and not separate? Like, how can we really separate you from everybody else? And so, yeah, y'all, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm in a place really trying to separate myself from people's opinions and thoughts of me. And really, it's my perception of their opinions because, once again, I don't actually know. All I know is what I've been told. And what I've been told is actually good. Like, So it's kind of crazy. Like, people will tell me how confident they think I am. How, I mean, y'all, even last night, just yesterday, somebody texted me thanking me for being a light and for bringing out the resilience in them, reminding them of how, um, of their value, and just being a hilarious person that um, makes things feel light. Like, that's what she told me yesterday. And y'all, can I tell you that yesterday I was feeling terrible? Like, can I tell you that yesterday I felt terrible mentally? And that interaction that I had with this person was a moment in time of distracting myself from what I was really feeling sad about and trying to be present in something that I've enjoyed. And I didn't even realize or notice what I was doing until this person said it, and it's like, wow, that's a good thing. But, this is also a result of, um, I don't know if it's like trauma or just the way things have played out is then I reject these good things that I'm told about myself. It's confusing because it's like all my whole life I've been told pretty positive things about me that's had negative consequences on me. And now I'm trying to figure out who I am and truly connect to the head and the heart and truly just like love myself. And I still have a hard time receiving positive, affirmations about myself. And the point of all this is I just have to stop relying on other people. And I have to figure these things out for myself. And that's been a big part of my journey, is validating myself, giving myself permission, because that's another thing I realized, that I haven't given myself permission to do a lot of things. And unknowingly, even with my best friend, like, I realized that I would seek the permission from her to like even feel a certain way, or from my therapist to feel a certain way, because I haven't really been allowed, or I haven't felt like I've been allowed to, because I've always had to be so positive and good and like this example, that like, especially when it comes to feeling sad or depressed or hurt or not have everything like perfect, it's like I feel like I need the permission to just like do that. And so, yeah, these are things I'm learning to try to give myself the permission to do, validate how I feel myself without going to my best friend or my therapist or whoever else, and just truly um, be in tune with myself and who I am. And so I just want to talk a little bit more about what does that look like practically. If you're somebody that you're also in the self love healing journey, and you are like me, have sought others to feel good about yourself, like, what do we do? How do we move forward here? Let me tell you, the first thing I've been doing, and I mentioned it before, but what I've been actually giving myself is time in reflection, like intentional time. I've been doing a lot of journaling lately, and it's been so helpful for me in the sense that it don't always make me feel better in the moment. It really doesn't. A lot of times I'm journaling and I'm crying at the same time, but being able to get my thoughts out and also process things by myself helps. It helps me to get the noise from other people out. Because even my therapist, I mean, y'all know, I talk about my therapist constantly and about therapy constantly because I strongly believe in it. It's helped me immensely. And also, my therapist is a voice that is in my head sometimes. So, even that, I need to have time for myself to just do some reflecting, to process things on my own. Something I used to do so much is fill my head with noise. And it wasn't necessarily bad noise, like listening to podcasts, music, constantly distracting myself. And I'm just doing that less. And it's not easy, y'all. Let me tell you, especially when you're so used to not being in silence and not sitting and constantly going. Oh, it is difficult. But I've been doing it now, I would say, for the past like couple months, and it has become easier to do. And it's actually something that I notice, like, if I have a day where I'm so busy, I feel like the need to do it. Like, it is now a regular part of my routine every day, and it really helps me. So, having time to yourself in silence, and whether that's journaling or just sitting and thinking. What I also try to do lately is, like, when I'm cooking or doing certain activities that I normally would have a podcast listening to at the same time, I'm trying to do activities just mindfully so I can just be more in tune with myself. You know, less distraction, more connection to self. Okay. So that's the number one thing that I've been really doing. Therapy is the second thing. Y'all already know, you know, therapy to me is good, especially because, yeah, being able to process things with a professional, it just gives you a different perspective on things. She's able to ask me a lot of questions that I can't ask myself because I never thought of them. And just talking it through, it gives, and having a space with someone, for me especially, who is completely unbiased, you know, not as somebody in my life, can truly be real with me without any kind of like fear of, you know, whatever. It really just helps. So that's the other thing. The other thing, though, too, is like I'm just honestly spending time doing things that give me joy, that fill me, I'm pouring into myself. And what does that mean? Spending time with my friends, talking with my friends. Unfortunately, all of my bestest friends ever live so far away from me. But I have been spending time talking to them more regularly and really just like continuing to foster those relationships. And it really fills me. I am an extroverted introvert. I would say that I am more extroverted than introverted, in that being around people, especially people that I love, really fills me up. I like my alone time, obviously, that fills me up too, but I notice that I need people, and it really fills me in a way that being by myself doesn't always. And so being able to connect with the people who love me truly, with people who I know have my back 100%, with people who love me unconditionally, fills me up, you know. So I'm doing a lot of connecting, and I'm also like getting to know a lot of people too. Like, I'm getting to know new people, and I enjoy that also. That's fun for me. So that's been helpful as well. And I'm doing things that I love. So, like, singing is a big part of my life. I love music, and I'm, you know, doing a lot of that. I'm singing a lot of groups at my church and things, but I really enjoy it. And, you know, when I was feeling burnt out, like, it was something that was not enjoyable for me anymore, but I'm really trying to prioritize things that I enjoy and, you know, eliminate the things that are causing me stress. You know what I mean? Prayer. Yo, let me talk about this because, like I said before, God and I, we've been going through it. But I've had a lot more moments recently where my prayers are just cries, okay? Sometimes they're not cohesive. Sometimes I'm angry. But being able to fully be real with God has also transformed my it's just transformed me in a way that I don't think it's allowed me to be truly authentic with God, and it's helped me to continue that authenticity outside of that relationship. And, you know, like I said before, I I don't normally do like words of the year and stuff like that, but so one of the words for that I'm trying to really um be intentional by, not just for this year, but just for my life, is authenticity. I want to be true to how I feel, to who I am, and not worry about others first, but really think about myself. Not in a selfish way, but just like I need to be authentic to myself. Like this is mandatory. This is a non-negotiable for me at this point, in all aspects of my life, and I'm really trying to figure out how to do that in all aspects. So that's another thing. Um, and y'all, this is so cliche, but the other thing I'm doing is just like, yeah, the self-care things. And I want to be real here. Okay, self-care things, just the regular taking showers every day, because I know, when times get hard, when you get dark, you don't want to do things like that. But also like nourishing my body, giving myself food, um, doing my devotions even the times that I don't want to, when I feel so depressed and down, maintaining that connection with the Lord. Just regular self-care things. It is not always easy. And after doing it, sometimes you don't always feel better. And something I have to constantly remind myself of is this process of self-love and care doesn't always feel good. It just doesn't. I've been crying a lot, like letting myself feel. Talked a lot about that in my first episode back. Feeling and letting myself. Letting myself is big because I hadn't done that in years. Crying, allotting time to cry also. I have to do these things for myself. They don't always feel good. I don't always feel better, but in the long run, it's going to help me. I know it is. It already has. And so I also just want to acknowledge how difficult it can be to take care of yourself. Sometimes my house is really messy because I don't have the strength to clean up all the time. I'm not washing the dishes every day sometimes, especially when I'm in a really big low, and it's difficult. But like I have to push myself. So as of lately, I'm trying to wash the dishes every day as a way to push myself. And sometimes you need that. But I just want to say it is okay if you don't like it or if it doesn't feel good. Exercising. I haven't exercised in a minute, but I'm going to. I'm going to start to get it back, but like moving my body, giving myself taking walks. Like I'm not doing that as much because of the weather lately, but like doing these things that physically are going to help me. They're hard, but these are things that help. So just want to encourage you. I get it if it is so difficult to hype yourself up to do it. And sometimes, opposite action, you do the things anyway. And I'm grateful that, as much as I've struggled, it hasn't been to the point where I could never get out of bed. And I know that is not the experience of other people. And, through everything, I'm grateful for my resilience. That's another thing. Practicing gratitude. It would be so easy. It is so easy to get stuck and stay in a dark, hopeless place. I know this because I've done it. But practicing gratitude regularly is something that has helped me to just get out of the funk and really focus on, everything is not so bad. Something else too, I put it away, but I'm gonna take it out again, is I built an altar for myself. Like, I literally got these stones, just got them on Amazon, and I wrote things down on them that I was grateful for, or things that God has done for me. And I literally had it in my room. And So, every time something else happened, I would write it down there and just kind of have it there. But having that physical reminder of just like how good God is and how things, that physical reminder of those gratitudes, it also is really helpful. So, these are just a few things that I've been doing. You don't have to do them all, but these are just like some practical things that have helped me along the way, and I will continue to share with y'all. And honestly, doing this podcast is really helping me too, because this is a space for me. Even though I'm speaking publicly, I'm in a room by myself talking. So, in a lot of ways, this is me processing things out loud and sharing with other people, and that really helps me too. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. Let's just go into what God has taught me. Something that I mentioned earlier is just where God and I have been, and just being in this place of praying, and I've done that for a long time. And I think what God is teaching me is like, He doesn't need an interpreter. He gets it. He understands exactly how I feel. There are moments when I fall off in my devotion because like I just don't even have the strength. Like there's been many days, y'all, when I wake up crying. Like I wake up and I'm crying. I immediately am feeling sad and thinking about all these different things. There are times when I open up my Bible and I'm just bawling my eyes out, and all I can do in those moments is cry and say, God, help me. And that is okay. And God understands. And God has been showing to me. I've been doing a study on Psalms lately. And yeah, Psalms is so real, man, because there's so many cries too, like that. David crying out to the Lord, saying, God, where are you? Just a lot of realness with the Lord. And yeah, I've definitely, for the last couple of years, I would say, been a lot more real with God. And I'm just realizing that, or I've been realizing this. I used to feel a lot of guilt for that. Because, you have this idea in your head that this is what a relationship with God is supposed to look like. But especially in recent years of just struggle, sometimes it don't look good. That's part of the process though, and it's okay. And God is not like shunning me because I can't do an hour devotion because I'm crying. He's not. He gets it. And it's not to say that, like, and I'm not using it as an excuse. It's not to say that you shouldn't, like, try to do that. But, like, if you don't have the strength, God has it for you. And He's there with you. And I've really been struggling with this idea of God being with me. And I talked about this before. But I've really been feeling that closeness, that intimacy with the Lord in these times of crying out to Him. So I want to encourage you, like if that's where you're at, cry out to the Lord and He will hear you. So that is it, y'all, for this episode. Oh, this is a long one. Did not anticipate this one going so long, but I appreciate y'all sticking it out. And yeah, until next time, bye.